This is a time of great opportunity for BHP. The resources we produce are essential to the energy transition and global economic growth. Our products are fundamental to the way we live now and into the future. Now more than ever, we need to provide the world the resources it needs responsibly and sustainably. Imagine what we can achieve if we continue to think big.
Good afternoon. There are certain things that define people and nations, things that are a part of them and a part of their very identity, things they sometimes even take for granted. And I'd suggest that mining and resources fall into this category. The story of Australia is in so many ways the story of mining. From the goldfields of Ballarat and Kalgoorlie well over a century ago to the extraction of lithium in Western Australia, it is mining that permeates every aspect of our economy, society and daily lives. And we have been guilty of taking it for granted in the past, but we certainly don't today. Because right now, in the middle of this global pandemic and recession, it is our resources and miners who are keeping our economy going and leading the way to economic recovery. In the last financial year, resources and energy exports hit a record high of $290 billion. Iron ore exports broke the $100 billion mark for the first time. Our thermal and metallurgical coal exports amounted to $55 billion, and gold exports jumped 29% to a record $24 billion. We were one of the biggest LNG exporters in the world, and we were the largest exporter of uranium. The sector is facing considerable challenges as geopolitics and COVID-19 affect world trade. But the point that I make to you is this. In the most difficult and testing of times, we are reminded of the absolute importance of mining and resources to our nation's economic resilience and future prosperity. Of course, much of this success is facilitated by our world-class mining equipment, technology and services sector, the MET sector. We are home to a staggering proportion of the world's top and most innovative METS companies, so it comes as no surprise they have adapted to the challenges of the pandemic. And the government's investments through the Industry Growth Centres, the CRC program, the Entrepreneurs program, CSIRO and the Research and Development Tax Incentive demonstrate our support and our backing for the sector. We particularly excel in areas such as artificial intelligence, robotics, automation and remote operations. 2018, Rio Tinto deployed the world's first automated heavy-haul long-distance rail network at its iron ore operations. And BHP is also accelerating truck autonomy across its Australian sites. We're also using technology for automating dangerous work, monitoring fatigue and real-time detection of collisions. And in terms of exports, I know Latin America is an important and growing market. And I'm pleased to announce that Australia will be the inaugural partner for Peru's 2020 PeruMin conference. Coming out of the COVID-19, the government is determined to revitalise our national economy. And that is why we are acting boldly and decisively to facilitate even greater competitiveness in the mining and resources sector and across the entire economy. We are strengthening vocational education and training through our $585 million skills package, delivering skills for today and tomorrow. The higher instant asset write-off threshold enables businesses to immediately deduct the full cost of new eligible asset purchases. Our digital business plan will accelerate the digital capability of Australian businesses. And of course, recovery is all about jobs. And the Australian resources sector is central to this, employing nearly 250,000 workers from the CBD of Melbourne to the remote outback. To grow and make the most of new opportunities, skilled workers are essential. And our National Resources Workforce Strategy will link government, the resources sector and education providers to supply the trained workers the industry needs. I applaud the actions the sector is taking to ensure its workforce is highly skilled, capable and ready for the future. BHP's recent apprenticeship pledge, which includes more apprenticeships, skills development opportunities and support for Australian METs, is a good example of this. But it's no good to have highly skilled workers if projects are delayed due to onerous regulations. That's why the government has asked the Productivity Commission to review how we can reduce the regulatory burden on the resources sector. Its final report is due later this year, And in the meantime, we are pushing on with reforms to the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act. Certainty, transparency and enhanced efficiency are the hallmarks of good regulation, and this will guide any further reforms we make. Further exploration and investment will be critical for our sector and for Australia's prosperity. To encourage further exploration, we recently announced a $125 million extension to the Exploring for the Future program. This next phase will focus on 2 resource corridors that are highly prospective for minerals, for energy and groundwater resources. Now, since 2018, a total of 17 resource companies, including global majors, have applied for exploration tenements in areas of Queensland and the Northern Territory, where early EFTF activities were focused. 12 of these companies have publicly cited Exploring for the Future data as being integral to their investment decisions. It is early days, of course, but we expect similar results off the back of the program's expansion. Now, the Prime Minister has spoken widely about the importance of abundant, reliable and cheap energy, and the government's plan for a gas-fired recovery. Under this plan, we have committed over $28 million to speed up the development in 5 strategic basins. These include the Beetaloo Basin, which I've heard the press, justifiably, describe as the hottest play on the planet right now, and as the first to be explored under the new funding. For each basin, plans will be established to accelerate exploration and development. They'll identify what resource opportunities are present, how we can accelerate and optimise their development, and how this will benefit Australians, including for jobs, trade and more affordable energy. These plans will also look for mineral development opportunities and groundwater reservoirs. COVID has also highlighted the importance of critical minerals and improving the security of global supply chains. Whether it's mobile phones, laptops, metal equipment, electric cars, rare earths are the essential component of so much manufacturing today and into the future. And it is our aspiration that Australia become a world leader in exploration, extraction, production and processing of critical minerals. We've established the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office to coordinate and deliver on this goal. And it's also why we've identified critical minerals processing and resources technology as a priority area in the $1.5 billion modern manufacturing strategy. We'll be working with the sector to develop roadmaps, identify roadblocks and growth opportunities for both mining and processing. And I know this work will benefit immensely from the progress already being made by METS Ignited. Also make the point that for some time we've been active in this area. The government is providing some $6.9 million to support an industry-led blockchain pilot related to critical minerals. We're working with the states and territories on a national critical minerals development roadmap to bring new projects online. And to attract investment, we have just released the 2nd edition of the Australian Critical Minerals Prospectus. And in the past few months, we've signed agreements with key partners such as Japan and India. Now, to learn more about our plans for critical minerals and how the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office can help, I'd encourage you to tune into the presentation from Ms Jessica Robinson, General Manager of the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office, later today. In these extraordinary times, and as we emerge from the economic shock of COVID, we will look to the resources sector more than ever. As always, this government will work closely with you. We will continue to encourage exploration and investment and provide the certainty and stability the sector needs to operate with confidence. Thank you for all you've done during COVID-19. Together, we can recover and prosper.